What's up guys, it's Tyler Anderson from Tyler's Reel Fishing and Lucky Tackle Box, and today I'm going to be explaining to you guys how to use the 4-inch KVD Strike King Ocho that you guys will be receiving in your December Lucky Tackle Box. Let's get started. So as fall really gets underway here in Texas, even though it's almost December, it's winter for you guys, up in the northern states. And so that means you guys need to start throwing smaller and smaller lures because those fish don't really want to have huge meals. They don't want to move a whole lot. They don't want reaction strikes. They want to just sit there and have the bait fall in front of their face so they can eat it with as minimal effort as possible. So a little bit of a disclaimer for you guys. When I originally recorded this video, as you just heard me say, I said in the wintertime you have to start throwing smaller and smaller lures because the fish are more lethargic. Now half of that was correct. The fish are more lethargic part was the correct part. But I'm sure somebody in the comments would have said this, you don't always have to throw smaller baits. A lot of people I know throw giant baits in the winter, like swim baits and huge football jigs and spoons. So you don't always have to throw the small baits, but this presentation that I'm gonna teach you guys today is the best way to throw a small bait to catch lots of fish in the wintertime. And so the KVD 4-inch Ocho Cinco is a very great bait to imitate small forage for those bass to eat. Now here at Lucky Tackle Box, we talk about three main things, as you guys know: rigging, retrieval, and location. Let's start with rigging. So the 4-inch Ocho Cinco is not a very large bait, and so in order to rig it on a Texas rig or a Carolina rig or anything like that, you would need a very small hook. And I find that with a 4-inch lure, it's not very effective to work it in that manner. And so I'm going to rig it up today on something that I learned from actually my buddy John B up north. It is called the Shaky Shot. Now this is basically a drop shot cut in half. So usually a drop shot leader is anywhere between a foot to even 3 foot. I've seen them longer than that. But this is about a 3.5 inch leader to a drop shot hook. So I'll show you guys how to rig this up. Now today my rod, reel, and line of choice is a Castaway 610 drop shot special rod, a Lew's tournament spin spinning reel, because you have to, it's a light bait, so you have to almost always use a spinning reel with, if I can get it, 15-pound Berkley Fire line, kind of a small tiny braid, with a 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon leader. And so what I do is I tie the leader on there with whatever knot you guys want to tie. I'm not going to go into that today. And then the two other components of the Shaky Shot are the weight itself and the small drop shot hook. Now what you're going to do is, if you guys know how to tie a Palomar knot, you're going to leave a little bit extra line, more line than you would when you're normally tying a Palomar, and you're going to feed it. It's very important that the loop that you make, you feed through the top of the hook. And by the top, I mean the hook side, not the bend side. And so you're gonna wanna just kind of feed it through there, then tie the bait off, and then just tie a regular Palomar knot, just like you were tying on a crankbait or any other bait you guys would use. Make sure to wet it and cinch it down. And now, it's as simple as taking your tag end, that should be about, now it's about 8 inches, and you basically just shove it right back through the top of the hook, top of the eye, and pull it through like this. That way, your hook is standing on the side of the line straight up. And so basically what you're gonna want to do at that point is take your scissors, cut off, the 4 inches of line you don't need, and then take your drop shot weight. Today I'm using a 1/4 ounce just to get it a little bit deeper, and you're gonna wanna just cinch it in there. You guys can tie a knot around it if you want. And that is basically how you rig the Shaky Shot. And all you gotta do is take your 4-inch Ocho Cinco, nose hook it just like that, and you guys are ready to go. So now that we have rod, reel, and the bait all rigged up in the Shaky Shot, it's time to talk about retrieval. Let's go out in the water. Now when talking about retrieval, you want to really not move this bait. This bait relies on the current, relies on the wind. Wait. Oh my goodness. He's got me around some sort of stick down there. I was talking to you guys, and he took off with it, and has actually gotten me stuck. So let's go in there and, oh, he's still on there. Still on there. What I was saying is, I wasn't even moving the bait, literally. All you had to do was talk to the camera, and that fish grabbed it and ran off with it. And I'll talk about the actual movement of the bait here in a second when I get my fish off. Got it in. There he is. Not a big fish, but still shows my point that when you don't move this bait, that's when it shines. Let this fish go. Oh, there he goes. So that's exactly what makes the Shaky Shot shine, is that with the small leader, you just kind of cast it out there and let it sit, and maybe occasionally drag it, occasionally give it little hops. Not even as much as a Shaky Head or a Ned rig. It's even more finesse than that. As you guys can see, it catches fish. So as I was saying right before I was rudely interrupted by the bass, is that this bait doesn't really require a whole lot of movement. These fish are finicky, they don't really want to bite anything right now, so it's a high pressure situation, and so all you got to do is really just kind of let it sit down there. And so you cast it out and then barely drag it back, barely give it some shakes. Really, the fish will let you know how to work your bait. If they bite it when you're doing something right. Like I said, drop it down there and then just kind of barely pick it up, maybe small shakes, maybe an occasional little hop here and there, and then drop back down, get some drags, and you got him. That was sweet. That was awesome. And the slightly better fish, awesome. I love it when my point gets proved as I'm talking. Good deal. Let's let this guy go. Thanks for playing around, bud. Woo! Radical. And finally, we've covered all of our bases in terms of how to rig the bait, how to retrieve the bait back after you cast it. Now it's time to talk about location and where to find those transition bass. All right, so when talking about location, this is a perfect location to throw the shaky shot with the Ocho Cinco. This here is a gravel point leading into a small cut with a dock. Practically everything you could ever want in one small area, and these fish are moving back from the main lake back to the back of the pockets to follow the shad in the fall. And so this is a perfect area to throw this bait and intercept those fish. So I'm gonna throw right up to the point we started out. Let's see if we can snag ourselves an Ocho Cinco bass. That's kind of the key with location. You want to find several things that the bass like all together. Because sure, you might go down a bank that just has rocks or just has sticks or just docks, and there might be fish there. But if you can find a high percentage area that has all 3 or 4 things in one, that is definitely your better shot at catching fish. Now also, when you're thinking about location, you want to look at things that are different. Now this whole lake, my home lake of Lake Travis, is basically just limestone. A whole bunch of big limestone chunks, but as you guys can see, you are now in a gravel area. And so usually fish like to relate, especially big ones, to things that are different. So I'm just basically slowly dragging the shaky shot, letting the water and the current do its trick on the bait, not my own rod or anything, over the gravel point, hoping to intersect with some of those bass that are in transition from the deep to shallow water. He got off, boys and girls. Oh, no he didn't. He's there. Yes! Get him in the boat, people. So that's another thing I haven't really addressed yet, is how to set the hook. Now, oh, goodness gracious, bud. Stop. See you later. Now with this bait, since you are using a very, very small drop shot hook and the bait's not big in itself, you don't need to completely yank on the fish to set the hook, because you're fishing 8-pound line, you're most likely gonna break off, especially if you're fishing around any sort of cover. And so you really just want to feel the fish down there, reel up the slack, and just kind of slowly lean into him like you would with a drop shot or even a small shaky head. If you're gonna set the hook like a jig or a Carolina rig, you're gonna break off those fish. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something about how to rig, retrieve, and catch these bass. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure you subscribe to Lucky Tackle Box's channel and my channel, Tyler's Reel Fishing, as well. You can find both in the video description below. I think it's time for me to go catch some more fish. We'll see you guys later.